Hello everyone, thank you for joining us and welcome to today's webinar on preparing for winter housing. So my name is Eoin Moloney and I'm Head of Member Experience here at Herdwatch, and I'm also delighted to be joined today by Hazell Mullins from Abbeyville Veterinary in County Cork. How's it going, Hazell?
Hello, how are you on?
I'm good, Thanks for joining us today.
I'm delighted to be here, it's brilliant.
Brilliant. No, listen, thanks a million for coming on board with us this evening, and we're looking forward to hearing all your advice around the winter housing stuff for farmers, for their animals. So look, we're going to be hearing loads more from Hazell, everyone, in the next couple of minutes. She's going to really help out and give some really good advice. She's some great slides prepared for winter housing and preparing for it. So if you do have any questions for Hazell around animals and winter housing, or general veterinary questions, or obviously questions, you know, more Herdwatch related, if you need some help, or if you have any questions or queries on the Herdwatch app itself, do feel free to pop those questions into the chat. We're going to set some time aside at the end of the webinar for some questions and answers for both myself and Hazell. But we also have James and Mervyn on hand helping out this evening. So the lads are there. They're going to answer as many questions and queries as you have. So feel free to throw them in throughout the webinar. And like I said, the lads will get to those, and we will leave some time at the end to cover off questions that are maybe coming in an awful lot. So before I do hand over to Hazell, maybe for anybody this is our first webinar or they're relatively new to Herdwatch, we just want to start off by just giving you a little bit of a background on the Herdwatch story to date. So Herdwatch is just a really simple and easy to use app which allows you to reduce your farm paperwork, save time, but also make better decisions on your farm. So Herdwatch is 6 years old. We launched in 2014, and since that time we've become the market leading app in both Ireland and the UK, and we currently have over 13,000 members in Ireland, UK, Scotland and Wales, and obviously Northern Ireland as well, using the app, and using the app to help themselves on their farm every day to reduce their farm paperwork, get them through their audits and quality assurance inspections, and just generally make that side of the farm an awful lot easier on themselves. We also have over 1.8 million animals in those 6 years that have been synced down from BCMS, from AgFood here in Ireland, and from APHIS in Northern Ireland into the Herdwatch system. And this year, actually very recently, we surpassed over 1.6 million calves registered using the Herdwatch app, which is another really big milestone for us. And overall, we also recently just surpassed over 11 million records, including the likes of medicines, treatments, weights, movements, and calf registrations, that have been recorded on the app and that are also securely backed up for our users. So we've lost Hazell there for a few seconds.
I'm back again, sorry.
You're all right, Hazell. So look, like I said, we will be hearing more from Hazell in a couple of minutes, but I do also want to just let everybody know about the Herdwatch Refer Us Friend scheme that we're running at the moment as well. So it's just a really simple and easy way for you to get a really lovely reward from referring somebody that you know that's farming to the Herdwatch app as well. So really, it couldn't be easier to get these rewards and get these goodies that we have on offer at the moment. So literally all you need to do is tell somebody that you know that's maybe farming, maybe somebody else in your family or a friend of yours, about the Herdwatch app, and all they need to do is download the app. It's free to do that from the App Store or the Play Store, and set up their free account. And once they do that, you can just head over to the Herdwatch reward or Refer a Friend rewards page. It's herdwatch.com/rewards. Just pop in the details of the person that you got going on Herdwatch, and you'll be able to claim your reward. And the way the system works as well, obviously the more people you refer, the more you can get rewarded. So if you want stuff like the jacket I've on today, there'll be chili bottles, but we also have lovely gifts like wellies and overalls, bib and braces as well. Just make sure and get people set up, and just head over then and pop in their details, and we will look after you. So on to the actual webinar itself this evening. So what are we going to cover in the next 25 minutes or so? So as I said at the start, we're just going to hand over to yourself, Hazell, in a minute or so. And Hazell is going to guide you through the prepping for winter housing. Following on from Hazell's slides, then I'm going to spend a couple of minutes actually demoing a few things within the Herdwatch app. So we'll show you how to create groups, maybe groups that you're housing together for the winter, and then how to record some of the treatments for these groups of animals as well, and maybe some vet call-outs. If we've time as well, we'll quickly show you how to get some weight records into the app. And also a really important thing is just how to run your reports if you have a quality insurance inspection in the UK, or if it's a Board B or a department audit here in Ireland, or quality assurance up in Northern Ireland. We'll show you how easy it is to get those records back once you have them recorded into the Herdwatch app. And then we'll obviously finish off with some questions as well from yourselves, for myself and Hazell. So if you're good to go, Hazell, I'm going to hand over to you now and let you drive on with the stuff you've got ready to go.
I think so. I think I'm good to go. Thanks so much, Eoin, and thank you to Herdwatch as well for having me on tonight. I actually, I'm a big fan of Herdwatch. I've been a member now for nearly 2 years, and my dad as well at home uses it. And well, it's more like Hazell. There's the app. Put this into that and this into that. But it has kind of transformed how we do our records and our scanning records and everything. And it's brilliant as a vet as well, because a lot of my clients would ask me at the van to, what did you give? And I'll see them put it straight into the app as well, which is brilliant to see, because it just saves so much time later on as well. And then with scanning and everything, they've got everything on hand, and I can say, oh, how long is she in calf, and match up what I'm seeing on my goggles to what's going on in real life. So yeah, definitely it's definitely a thing that I'm really, really happy to endorse, and I'm just really happy to be here tonight. I am Hazell. I work in Cork for Abbeyville Vets, and just see here, I'm Vet in the Move on Instagram, or you can find me at Hazell Mullins as well, and I kind of just document my day and my cases, and it's growing, it's brilliant, and I enjoy all the interactions I have with everyone. And also recently I've set up Vaccination Ireland podcast with my business partner Michelle, and we're kind of launching that at the moment, and it's doing really well. Just kind of a platform for vets from all over Ireland, no matter what type of industry you're in, just to be involved in. So yeah, my title of tonight's talk is Thinking Outside of the Shed. So thinking outside the box, thinking outside the shed. So I'm not talking about ventilation, I'm not talking about hygiene, because I could be here all night, and I suppose animal health and prevention is kind of my big topic that I like to talk about, and I like to prevent disease rather than trying to cure it. And I know that might be putting myself out of a job maybe, but I think that's the way veterinary is changing as well. We're nearly preventative now, and it's brilliant, because it's nobody wants sick animals. So it's my 5 kind of top points for pre-housing health tips, and they're kind of things that I've been doing a lot of talks and seeing a lot of CPD online lately, and things that I just picked up in the last couple of weeks that I'd like to share with you, maybe as 1 or 2 points. And if you just go away with one piece of new information, I'll be happy tonight. So my first slide is vaccination. So vaccination is kind of the key to preventative medicine, as we all know. And I'm sure everyone is blue in the face from being told about vaccination, but I just said I'd break it down to what you should be thinking about at housing. And firstly, cows. So suckler cows, dairy cows, kind of breedy animals, salmonella. Salmonella is everywhere in Cork nearly. It's a big problem, and most farms in Cork are vaccinating for salmonella. Different parts of the country would have less uptake, but it's a zoonotic disease. It can affect yourself. It can be transmitted by fomites, wildlife, it's in the environment. So, even if you've got a closed herd, it won't stop salmonella coming into your herd. So it causes abortions, calf scour, sudden death, the typical scouring, red scouring cow, and foul smelling. And it's just a really, really nasty disease. And I've seen it kind of with sudden death in calves a lot, that you go to the farm, they're perfect the night before, they're dead the next day. And it's horrific to deal with as vets. So salmonella is usually given in the month of September for your spring calving herds. So it protects abortions at 5 months, which is kind of October time. So it's not too late still to give it, but give it ASAP if you are thinking of doing it. Or if you're like, oh, I forgot to give the booster, just do it now. And it's 2 shots for heifers, 1 shot as a booster for cows that have had their 2 shots previously. So Rotavac Corona, that's another one. It might be a little bit early for it yet, but it depends when your cows are calving. So you give that 3 to 12 weeks before the cow is due to calf. So it's very important to get it in the right frame, because that means that the antibodies will be in the colostrum, and then the colostrum is fed to the calf to protect the calf from getting rotavirus or coronavirus or E. coli. So it works through the colostrum. So it's not a vaccine for the cow as such, it's a vaccine for the calf. So 3 to 12 weeks prior to calving. Next one then is IBR. A lot of people vaccinate for IBR kind of summertime and winter. So kind of usually July and January would be the typical months, but some farms are in different programs, and I could be here all night talking about IBR, but generally a lot of my farms that I work on are on a 6-month live program that they give it every 6 months, and it's live. And then there's ones that go on to 12-month live and 12-month dead vaccine, killed vaccine. So whatever, have a chat with your vet about whatever system you're on, and just make sure if you're using a live vaccine, please don't go over your 6 months or your 12 months, because things can go down rapidly very quickly and animals can get reinfected, and things, you can have early embryonic death and, milk loss and everything. So it's like your boosters in your dogs. You get your text to say go in and boost your dog. IBR is one of the most important ones to really stay on time with. So that's my
sorry,
2 cents on IBR.
Hazel.
Yeah.
There's actually, I was going to leave, there's some questions obviously flying in already from people, but and we will leave them till the end. But I think that there's one that's been asked from Kevin. If you wouldn't mind, maybe we might just ask it now, because I think it's kind of relevant to the area you're covering at the moment. So
okay.
Kevin just asked that, he said he's having problems with weak and stillborn calves. He said the calves they're quite big calves, but they're weak and they're dead a day or two before birth. He says he's changed from a bolus a few years back to licks on the wall. But would you have any advice for him?
Yeah, that when I hear stillborn calves, iodine kind of flashes in my mind. Or there's other, maybe a mineral deficiency of some sort, but iodine to me is a stillborn calf problem. So I would probably have a discussion with their vet and maybe take bloods from maybe some of the in-calf cows and see what the mineral levels are. You can run a profile that tests quite a lot of them. So iodine is difficult enough to, you have to send it to England and places but you can measure thyroxine, and that'll tell you whether it's low or not. So I've had a couple of farms that would suffer with stillbirths, and it's probably more than likely a mineral deficiency of some sort. Obviously stillbirths can be infectious as well. So I would say that hopefully you won't have a next one, but God, if you do, maybe send it off to the lab and get a post-mortem done as well on that calf.
Thanks for that, Hazel. Hopefully that helps.
No bother. No bother. Hopefully it all improves, because that sounds not so nice to be dealing with. But so next one then is kind of, you can't talk about housing without talking about pneumonia vaccines, and it's all, I'm talking about pre-housing, and pre-housing is when you need to do your pneumonia vaccines. When you have them in the house, it's not the best, it's okay, but if you have the time before they go in, get those vaccines into your weanlings or your calves before they go inside, because housing brings stress, and they mightn't be eating as much, so their immune system might be down. Their immune systems aren't responding to the vaccine as much as they should, and also they're in the shed, they're together, they're the viruses, if there is some there, they're breeding, and they love moisture and warmth. So if we can get the vaccines into them before they go into the shed, brilliant. So our options are live vaccines. So these are the ones up the nose. So these are your RSVs, PI3. They're your main 2 viruses that are covered from your live vaccines. And in practice, these are RSV is definitely seen, and I've done swabs on calves with pneumonia and coughing, and have had positive RSV. So it is there. It's very it's one of the most typical causes of pneumonia. So ideally 2 weeks before housing. So look, it's middle of October now. Could be that this week could be the week that you get your weanlings in and get your shots up your nose, their nose, not your nose, for your intranasal live vaccines. Now, the only problem with those intranasal vaccines is that the duration of immunity is about 3 months. So depending when you give it, February is probably the longest you're going to get. So look at your history of your farm. When do you get the weanlings with pneumonia mostly? Is it at housing? Is it later on? Just have a discussion with your vet about maybe last year's history, and ideally, probably now is a great time to get those intranasal vaccines into your calves or weanlings. So then you've got your dead vaccines as well. So these take a little bit longer to work, but they do last longer. So they will cover the animal for the whole duration of housing, nearly for 6 months. So all going well weather-wise, they should be back out of grass after that. So ideally, we should be looking 6 to 8 weeks pre-housing. So look, it might be a little late, but it's, if you want to, have a discussion with your vet again and see what you think, and when your pneumonias are happening, are they early, are they late? This could be a good option for you. Or even next year, really have in mind, okay, I really need to be thinking about this now in September, get my dead pneumonia vaccines in. The benefits of the dead one obviously is length, but there's also ones that have Pasteurella protection as well. So it's a bacterial plus viral protection. So it is you are protecting for more things, but it does take a bit more planning. So if not this year, maybe it's something to discuss next year. And that is a 2-shot vaccine as well. So 3 to 4 weeks apart, depending on the brand that you go for. So yeah, that's that. And then IBR live as well. Again, going back to your IBR for your calves and your weanlings, every 6 months, or if you want to get them on to a yearly, but they're probably going to be on the 6-month one when they're this young. And so with the BEEP-S scheme, so the Beef Environmental Efficiency Scheme that's running in Ireland at the moment, 2 shots of dead or 1 shot of intranasal plus IBR live IM is covered financially if you want to choose that as a thing. But you probably have to be signed up for that now already, but that's your option. So I just said I'd put that in. And also minerals, I've just been doing a lot about minerals and reading up a lot about minerals lately, and I think it's a big buzz thing around COVID as well. And supplementing ourselves with minerals, and zinc is probably a buzzword as well. And I think we have to think about our bodies the same as the animals' bodies. We're same physiology, and if the animals are stressed and they're lacking minerals and they're not looking the best, then their response to the vaccines that are quite they're not cheap won't be as good. So you probably could be a good investment to invest in some mineral supplement as well for your animals. You can do it at vaccination or pre-vaccination. So just to keep in mind. So next one, we have worming. So worming is a big topic at the moment because we really do need to change our mindset about the use of wormers on farms. We've been a little bit probably overusing them, and it's been a problem in sheep for years, resistance, and sheep farmers are very, very good at knowing what sheep to dose and when to dose and what to use. And I think we definitely need to go down that route as cattle farmers and dairy farmers and beef farmers, and we are going to be made do that in 2022, but I think we should become ahead of the curve and show that we can act responsibly with our wormers. So fecal egg counts are probably going to be a thing that every farmer does. It's just going to be the norm. So they're not costly. They're about €10 to do. I was talking to my good friend Anne Kelleher, and she has a master's in parasitology, and she was saying that she did her thesis on resistance on farms, and she found that 16 out of 16 farms that she did her research on had resistance to ivermectin. So that's a scary fact, and that's only the start, like what's going to come down the road. So things are definitely improving, so we just have to get better. And the heaped teaspoon of fresh dung into each 10 separate pots, and put them in the post, and try to do it on a Monday or Tuesday. That's my tip, because if they get lost in the post over the weekend, some eggs can die and you mightn't get to proper reading and they can dry out. So do not freeze either. So kind of Monday or Tuesday, get them in the post or get them to your lab or your vet and get them analysed. And then you'll know then whether you need to dose or not. Bulk milk samples are great as well for the dairy farmers. They give a historic reading of antibodies, so it can tell you whether there's been osteotagia in your herd, so gut worms, and in the previous 3 weeks. So that's a good way of telling as well whether your cows need dosing. Clinical signs as well. I think we all have to keep that in mind as well. Your ill-thrift cow, your weanling or scour, coughing, lungworm. The vein of my life is lungworm, and it is something that complicates how we treat animals compared to the sheep. And we do have to be very careful because lungworm can kill. So coughing cows and coughing weanlings are, that to me is a sign that worming would need to be done. So dairy cows are options. So we've got your oral white drench, your benzimidazoles. So that also kills fluke at a fluke dose, and that's about 60 hours withdrawal. And you've got your clear porons injections, your ivermectins, moxidectins. And if dosed with epinomectins, your non-milk withdrawal wormers in the last 4 weeks, you don't need to do a housing dose because that persists for 4 weeks, 28 days. So you'd only be overdosing if you went in with a housing dose if they went in within 4 weeks. So just keep that in mind. Beef animals, you've kind of got everything and anything. You've got your 3 classes of drugs. Your yellow dose is off the table though for housing because it doesn't do the insisted type 2 osteotagia. So it's not a housing dose. It's fine during the year, but just not a housing dose. And again, if you've used an ivermectin product, look at the packet, see whether it's, in the last 4 weeks, it will persist for about 28 days, most of the brands. So just have a look at the packet and see what the duration is, and they might need a dose at all. So always check persistence, meat withdrawals, milk withdrawals, and just make sure that you're, adhering to all of that. I also had a case where a suckler cow was dosed with a poron, and the calf was dosed, and the mother licked a lot of the dose off the calf and actually caused toxicity to herself, and she actually passed away. So just as a note, just be careful of using porons with suckler calves and suckler cows together. Maybe just take them away for a couple of hours if you can, just so that the mothers don't lick it all off them and ingest too much. Fluke is one of those things that people ask me, oh, do I need to dose for fluke? It's very difficult to diagnose fluke because the life cycle is so long. It's 10 to 12 weeks long. So you won't get eggs in your dung until you have adult liver fluke. So that's 12 weeks. So you mightn't have eggs, even though you could have immature fluke. Again, slaughter records, any beef animal will come back to you in your record now with if liver fluke has been detected. Wet land as well, you kind of know in your history if fluke is a problem. And bulk milk again, especially this time of year, if you're sending dairy cows or sending off samples for sensitivity testing, add in your fluke bulk milk as well, and then that'll give you an idea of the antibody level. Again, 3 weeks previous, it's historic, but it's a good indication whether there's a high level. Dairy cows, you've got your white drench again, 60-hour milking, but that only does adult fluke. You got your trichobendazoles, which is kind of the supreme kind of, that does your any liver fluke from 2 weeks of age. So it really clears out any fluke, that product. And then you've got your oxyclonazide, which is the traditionally probably at calving product, and that does the adult liver fluke and rumen fluke. So if rumen fluke is one of those things, how relevant it is, it's still quite a new disease that we're dealing with. If you've got scouring cows or calves and there's positive rumen fluke, it's kind of indicated that could be causing it. So you do need to treat. And that one has a 4.5 day milk withdrawal. So that's why sometimes people use it at calving. So if you've used a white drench maybe at housing, then that'll kill any fluke that are left over at calving. So, and then beef cattle, you've got a bit more options, but just be careful of withdrawals with some of these fluke doses and beef cattle with pour-ons. There's no pour-on available for dairy cows, but beef cows, withdrawals can be up to 2 months. Just be aware. And Closantel does kill over 7 weeks fluke, so it kind of kills a teenage fluke, but not the adult one, or not the baby ones, not the mature ones. So that is fluke. Don't forget about lice. Lice is one of those things that, it's like, oh yeah, you've got the itching and you've got the hair loss, and next thing the whole shed has it, so just be aware that if you are treating for lice, treat all the animals in the shed at the same time, or keep some isolated, but generally it's just as easy to just treat them all. Typical life cycle of a louse is 3 weeks. There's biting lice and chewing lice. So your pour-ons will treat both. Injectable kind of ivermectins will only probably treat the sucking lice. So just be careful of that. And if you're using, just look at the packet and see how long certain products last. So a deltamethrin pour-on, which is quite a common lice pour-on, they last for up to 8 to 10 weeks. So this will go through 2 cycles of the louse. So it'll kill the new eggs emerging and it'll kill the adults. Whereas some products might only kill the adults and the eggs left over are still developing, and you might need a second treatment if you're not using a persistent product. So just the best thing to do, keep an eye out for any hair loss and just treat immediately. And yeah, I always thought growing up that the lice were in the shed, and but actually no, they're actually on the animal all the time. They're never off them, and they kind of hide away in the hooves and in the ears. And then when they come in and the air temperature and the skin temperature drops and the hair begins to grow, then they start emerging and cause trouble. So they're kind of an interesting little creature. And then body condition scoring. So generally, if you have a weighing scales, brilliant. I suppose my topic of interest, because I work a lot with dairy cows, would be your dry cow body condition score. And your TAGUS recommends kind of between, at drying off, 2.75 to 3.25, or pre-calving 3 to 3.5. So you're kind of looking at a range between 2.75 and 3.5. But basically, over 4 is not acceptable. And if you've got fat pads, like you can see in this lady here, with the 2 hooves, that was a lady I had a dystocia the other morning, and it was a tough old pull. That's actually a suckler cow, and she's touching a 5 there, really, in my eyes. So that's really not good, because you're only predisposing to milk fever, which she had as well, and dystocias, LDAs, ketosis, the list goes on and on. It just really does no good for your cow. So just make sure that they're in the right body condition. You can, if you're in the beef side of things, you can weigh your animals and your live weight gains, and look at your silage analysis as well. That's very important to do, and see what kind of energy requirements that your animals will need to meet their targets. So again, the BPS scheme, you're looking 1st of November apparently is the deadline for any weights. So get them recorded on the app, and I think weighing animals as well for dosing is always a good thing, because underdosing leads to resistance as well. So it's always good to dose to the right weight. So this is my kind of parting glass, and I'm sorry now if I've run over Eoin, but just a little safety, because safety to me on farm is very, very important. And I have had my fair share of injuries, from broken fingers to stitches in my head and whatnot, and no matter how careful I am, there's always dangers. So bulls, pens, just always look out for bulls. And sometimes we can be complacent, but they are so dangerous, and way too many people have died from bulls this year. And I got messaged by a lovely girl, actually, thanking me for talking about farm safety. Her dad passed away during the year from a bull attack, and it really just opened my eyes to how just we need to talk about these things, because things can change in a blink of an eye. So crushes, you can see me there, I'm injecting behind the gate of the head gate, because if you inject in front and no one's holding the animal, then they can pull back and catch your fingers, which has happened to me plenty of times, and it's not nice. So yeah, I always go behind the bars. And please, if you preparation for housing would not be complete without making sure you're calving gates. You have one, firstly, thank you, that'd be great, as all the vets in the world would be very grateful, and that they're working as well and have a good head gate, and you can, you know, securely have the cow in them as well. So yeah, under the skin injections, my latest injury, just when you're injecting, just go at an angle behind the shoulder, and, you know, don't pick up the skin, because if that cow moves, your hand can go into your other hand, and then yeah, needles in joints and things aren't good. And short needles are very good for your under the skin injections. And I should have said as well that vaccinating IM, you should really try and vaccinate into the muscle in the neck, because the prescapular lymph nodes, I read this the other day and it was very interesting, that they're the ones that really like launch the response to your vaccine. And it's you know, there's a reason why they say on the instructions to inject in the neck. So yeah, so look, just be careful, and always have an escape route planned as well. We're always I've ducked under a few gates and into ditches and things, trying to get away from mad animals in my time. So yeah, just as a kind of a parting little thing. So I'm hopefully I got through a lot of information there, and I know that if you've registered for this, you'll get the recording and the slides, and hopefully you've taken away 1 or 2 points and you enjoyed it as well. And yeah, I probably went too far there now.
You're
Owen,
okay.
sorry.
You're okay, Hazel. You're grand.
And thank you again to Herdwatch for having me, and thank you.
No, thanks a million, Hazel. Absolutely brilliant. So I think people have got super information out of that, and I think you're proven very popular with all the questions that are being asked anyway, Hazel. So
good.
We're going to have loads
in a minute. We'll do the Herdwatch stuff first.
Yeah. So I'm just going to spend a minute or two just showing people actually how Herdwatch can really help out with some of the stuff that Hazel has discussed there, in terms of actually recording the treatments and the doses in the app, to obviously cover yourself for compliance as well, for your quality assurance audits and inspections, and just removing that paperwork. And we will have loads of questions for you then, Hazel. So
we might have to censor them maybe.
Yeah. So I'm just going to open up the actual Herdwatch app now for everybody that's watching this evening. So if you're pretty new to Herdwatch, this is obviously our new next generation app, which was released in the last couple of months, you know, to replace our old app. And this is our home screen, really, really straightforward, really easy to use. So first thing I'm going to do is just show very quickly how easy you can actually record the purchase side of your vaccinations or your medicines that you're going to use to dose animals. So from your home screen, you can see you have your orange plus button here, but if you click into certain sections, certain areas of the app, like compliance or weights, so if I come into compliance and then click on my plus, gives me all the options to record my compliance tasks or events. And you can see that one of them here via the plus button is our medicine or remedy purchase. So I can just select this. So if you've been into Hazel and she's prescribed a medicine to you, or you're in to buy some dose, this is all you need to do. Now, while I'm here, just I suppose a top tip that we have for actually when you're using the Herdwatch app, I know most of you are going to be using your phones or maybe your tablets. So you can obviously use the scan facility here. You see the little options here. It's really handy when you're on your phone, and you can just scan the barcode or the QR code. It's a little tip that we have on the medicine box, and it'll put in a lot of the information about the medicine for you automatically. Saves you having to type it in. Just because I'm obviously on the computer, I'm just going to type in just a normal fluke dose that we would normally purchase. So just go my endo fluke here. Now, because I've entered this into the app previously, I would have put in withdrawal periods, etc. in there. So Herdwatch is smart enough to know what you've put in there from before, and it'll just ask you, do you want to reuse those details? So you can just click yes there, and it just cuts down again on the amount of information you need to put in, and it just quickens up the whole process again. So you can see that the date of purchase, I can leave it as today. If it's something you've done a few days ago, you just click on your calendar and select your date. So even if it was something you've done yesterday, just change your date. And the orange or the red headings here are the fields that you obviously need to have completed for the task or for this medicine purchase to save. So pop in your quantity, you're supplied by, so if you got it off your farm store or off Abbeyville if you're down in Cork, you can obviously pop in your dose per animal per day. So this is really handy where you're doing big doses, group doses or vaccinations, where generally animals are going to be getting the same amount. You can just have that pre-entered in, and it'll deduct that amount for each animal that you select. And you can also see here that we have the milk withdrawal and the meat withdrawal that have been entered in previously for the endofluke here. So I know that they're going to be okay there. So if it's your first time adding the medicine into the app, you do have to put in the withdrawals, but it's remember then going forward for you. And if you have sheep, you can obviously tick the icon here to put in your sheep withdrawals. That's pretty much it. You can obviously put in your, sorry, before I do save it, you can put in your treatment reason. So what we used this before was for liver fluke, particularly. So you can, select whatever the ailment or the vaccination reason is that you're giving the medicine to the animals, and you can save. And that is pretty much as easy as it gets. It's so quick, as you can see yourself, to just put in that purchase, and that medicine is now ready to be used whenever you want on the farm. So you don't have to use it straight away, but if it was something you'd bought today and you wanted to use today, you can just pop into your compliance. And everything starts from your Orange Plus button. Once you're in here, when you click on that, it's always going to give you your options there. So your Orange Plus button, you click on that, you're not going to go too far wrong. And you can see this time, instead of doing the medicine purchase or the remedy purchase, I'm actually going to select cattle treatment. And this will show me a list of all the medicines that I've purchased and entered into Herdwatch. And at the top here is my purchase of my endofluke. So I'm just going to select that. I'm going to leave today's date as the date administered by. I can just select myself or whoever it is that's actually after giving the treatment to the animals. Everything else is there from your purchase record. You don't need to change anything else unless you need to, if it's your dose rate or something. And the last thing then is obviously selecting the animals. Now this is where Herdwatch is really, really handy. So a new addition to our app recently is the addition of smart lists here. So if you hover over smart lists, you can go down along, and there's lots of preset groups within Herdwatch. So your 0 to 6 months, your 6 to 12, 12 to 18, your cows and stuff will be in groups and stuff as well. Or even if there's animals that have left the herd, if it's for a normal dose that maybe you forgot to treat them, you'll find them. Your moved out list is down along here as well. You'll also have your group options here in the middle, and you can see that I already have a couple of groups here pre-made, or ones that I've created earlier. Now I will show you in a couple of minutes how to create a group as well, but I'm just going to select my 2020 calves. I have 60 animals within that group, and I can just go ahead and select them all with one click of a button here at the top, so I don't have to select every single animal individually. Now if it is a case that 1 or 2 animals were left out, you can just deselect them within this treatment so that they're not selected, and I've brought the total number down to 58, and then I can just save and click yes. And that's the dose, your treatment, or it's the same for your vaccination. If you're using IBRs, etc., you can just create them like that and create your treatments, and that's job done. Your reports will be updated, your animals in withdrawal. If you want to check each day, it'll be in here in your watchboard to check what animals are currently in meat or milk withdrawal. It's all at your fingertips there straight away. So as per Hazell's advice, if you need to do your vaccinations, you need to get it done, but get it recorded into Herdwatch and give yourself that peace of mind that you're covered for your audits and inspections as well. I suppose another thing we just want to quickly show is just how to actually create those groups of animals. I maybe should have done that first, but if I come into say my herd list here, I can then select my plus button, and you can see loads of options here, whatever you want to record. And as I scroll across, one of these options are groups. So you can call your group whatever you like. I have cows or calves, or you can call it Winter Housing 2020. It's probably a good one for tonight. Select next. This brings you into your full herd list, and at this point you just select the animals you want to put into that particular group. Another little tip that we have here is that we have 177 animals in this herd, but we want to filter that down to find particular animals, maybe animals of a certain age or breed or gender. So I can just click on the search icon and filter. I will put all the females or something in here, so I can select gender, just switch it to show me just females. And if we go from 24 months, just to find how many females over 24 months in the herd, and I can just select them all here. It's telling me at the top that there's 89 animals that fit that filter, and I can just save that then. So my winter housing group now has 89 animals in it. And as I did there a couple of seconds ago, you can select that group now on any of your treatments, your vaccinations, your doses. If you're using your porons or your IPRs, if they're calves, you can just easily select those group of animals and get that record done straight away. I think that's pretty much it. The other thing I did say I would show is just your reports. So obviously if you do have your audit or inspection, you want to be able to get those records back from Herdwatch to be able to hand over to your board BMN or your red tractor inspector when they arrive onto your farm. So you have your report section on your home screen. Now, this is an Irish herd that we're logged into, so you can see that you have the department inspection, board via audit. If we have any UK people watching the webinar this evening, or people in Northern Ireland, you're going to have your red tractor or quality assurance inspection is going to be your option there. But for our Irish farmers, if it's a board via, you can just click in here. Your reports are all going to be here for you. Just click on whichever one you're looking for, run, email me this report. And the app does the rest for you. It's actually that simple. So you can see you get your success message, job done. Check your emails within a couple of minutes. All those records will be sent to you. You can just print them off, hand them over to your inspector or your auditor when he or she arrives on the day. And job done. Like I said, peace of mind is there as well. Just before we get to the questions, Hazell, sorry, I know I'm going a little bit quick, but there is one thing you did mention, the beep scheme, to farmers in Ireland here that are in the beep scheme. Weights is obviously something that's very important, and it's crucial for the beep scheme to be able to record your weights for your cows and calves. So we have a weights icon here on the home screen, very same as any other task. If you click in here, select your orange plus button, you're going to have weight recording as an option here. So you can just click on that. You select the date that you weigh the animals. Now, a little top tip for people that are in the beep scheme here in Ireland, or suckler farmers, you just need to make sure that each particular cow and calf is weighed on the same day. It's something that comes up an awful lot in conversations that we have. You know, if you record the weights on different dates, it doesn't qualify you for the scheme. So just make sure when you're recording the weights for each particular cow and calf, it's done on the same date. We do the rest then. We will send those weights onto ICBF for you, so saves you that job. You can see I've just selected my date and who performed the weights here, and this has brought me into my herd list. Now, very same as before, I can navigate to my groups or my smart lists to find groups of animals. So if I click on groups here, and if you weighed all your calves on one day, I can select into my 2020 calves again. And it's just so quick and easy to record the weights. They're all here in front of you. So as the animal is on the scales, you can type in the weight here, 100 kg. Your other option here is if an animal is on the scales, you can pop in their number to find them really quickly here at the top. And you can pop in the weights here as they go on. The app is smart as well, so it'll tell you what their average daily gain is from the previous weight live in front of you before you even save as well. So you can see exactly how they're progressing and how they're doing. And when you're finished, all you have to do then is just click save. And those records are going to be saved for you. And like I said, they get transferred automatically here in Ireland to ICBF for your beep scheme, and you're covered. That's pretty much it for me in terms of the demoing. If you obviously do have any questions or queries, there is the message center on the app, so do make sure to use that to pop as a question. The customer success team are always on hand to take a call or answer your messages as well. So do obviously use that message center to ask as a question if there's something you're not sure of when you are using the app as well. Now, Hazell, back over to you. So yeah, as I was saying, you're very popular. So there's lots of questions here, and thanks a million to Mervyn and James as well for helping everybody tonight with answers too. So the first question for you this evening comes from Kalinda Hazell. She said, "Hi Hazell, we vaccinated for rota within the time frame required. However, we still got rota that moved through a batch of calves towards the end of our calving season this year. We had colostrum checked, and it was a vaccine in it, and calves' blood were checked and also came back okay. How can I prevent calves getting rotavirus, or any advice?"
I suppose no vaccine is 100% protective, but it definitely helps, and it's probably more the infection pressure at the end of the time frame or of the spring that's hello
sorry, I turned it off. Yeah.
That's probably catching those calves. And I wonder, if you've done all those things as well, and checked your colostrum, checked your IgG and your bloods and everything, it's obviously just the level in the herd. I suppose just hygiene, and unfortunately rotavirus is a virus, so there's no antibiotics or no simple cure, except just hygiene and colostrum management. I don't know if maybe some of the later animals were just a little bit, if you could maybe vaccinate them a little bit near, like within between the maybe 5-6 weeks instead of the 12 weeks, you might get it. But if you've checked it, Linda, I'd say it's just infection pressure, and it's unfortunately, hopefully it won't happen again this year. And sometimes rotavirus can happen like that, that it'll wipe out, it'll hit every calf one year, and then next year then you might only get a couple of cases. So hopefully that's the case. But no, I've no simple answer for you there, but you could maybe try and group the animals to vaccinate them a little bit nearer to calving, maybe the ones that are calving at 12 weeks.
Okay, thanks, Hazel. Question from Declan here. Declan is asking, if I never have a problem with pneumonia in weanlings, can I avoid using a vaccine?
Yes, well, anyone can avoid using a vaccine, but I suppose it's an insurance policy really, because just because you've never had a problem doesn't mean that it can't come in and hit you hard. Especially, I would say, if you are buying animals in, I would say definitely to vaccinate. But I think pneumonia vaccination is on the rise, and people are kind of seeing the benefits of it. And I definitely see farms that have had awful outbreaks and then vaccinate for the next couple of years, and they're delighted with the results. No matter what vaccine they use, there's always an improvement. Now, there's going to be no vaccine that can overcome really poor ventilation and hygiene. So, get those things right as well. Maybe make sure you're obviously doing something right if you haven't had problems before. But I would definitely price it anyway and look into it and see, how much that insurance policy will the cost risk analysis, I think they call it. Yes.
Brilliant. So hope that helps, Declan. Thanks, Hazel. The next question is from Peter. Hazel, Peter says he's buying replacement heifer shortly, and he'd like to know, how can he prevent them from getting red water? He got it a couple of years ago when he was purchasing replacements.
Okay, so red water is something that I don't see very often in practice down here in Cork, and I know I used to see it in Kerry a lot. Red water is caused by ticks, so keeping them, away from maybe tick-prone areas like long grass and kind of, areas like that, and then I suppose just, using your lice treatments as well. They're not particularly for that, but it can help. And yeah, I think just environment really. And now there is a drug available you can use it as a protective mechanism. It's imidazole, but it's got a very, very long meat withdrawal. I think it's nearly a year. So have a discussion with your vet about those options and see whether, if you did have a couple of cases last year, whether using that preventative drug would be wise.
Okay, yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, Hazel. Sorry, I'm not sure. I think people are struggling to hear me for some reason, but I'm going to try and talk a bit louder.
Okay.
Next question is coming in that's from Peter. So next one is from Lawrence. Lawrence is asking, Hazel, is selenium a problem with weak born calves? If I don't inject selenium, can I end up with weak calves as the land is lacking in cobalt?
Yes, I suppose selenium is very much linked with the immunity. It's all to do with white blood cell function, and antioxidant. And I've been reading up a little bit about it. It is really a super mineral. But as I said before, weak born calves could be iodine as well. So maybe just get your animals mineral tested and see what's going on with that. So anything weak and stillborn, iodine does come to mind. And good news is iodine is very readily available. It's not one of these, like copper and zinc and things aren't as absorbable orally as iodine. So it's very easy to supplement with iodine. So that's the good news, either in the water or boluses or
Okay.
Just be careful not to overdo it, because obviously milk residues and things. But I would probably run bloods and just get your vet to come out and probably run 6 mineral bloods on a couple of cows.
Okay. Tom is the next one up for you, Hazel. Tom is asking, is it right to say that older cows are immune to worms?
They definitely have built up resistance. So your younger animals are definitely more at risk. So yes, it is right to say that. The one that can catch you out is lungworm. And that's the one that the resistance is just like, I'd say you could do a PhD on lungworm and still find out things about it. It basically, you have got two immunities. You've got one that lasts for 6 months against larvae, and then you've got one that lasts for 2 years against adults. So it's the larvae one that's the problem. So that wanes after 6 months. So basically, any cow could get a cough. Again, it is more likely in younger cows, but it's the lungworm really in the other cows that you have to watch out for. Yes, but they can get stomach worms as well. But yes, Tom's right. They are more immune to worms. Yes.
Okay. There's just a couple more left for you, Hazel, but
Mhm.
I'm going to give you a 30-second break here because a couple of people have asked, just in relation to Herdwatch, what do you do or how do you actually record the vet call outs? So when Hazel calls us to farm. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring Herdwatch up here really quickly again,
Mhm.
and I might get your help as well on this one then, Hazel. So the vet call out treatment is actually really straightforward and quick. I suppose the same as everything in Herdwatch. It's just so simple to do. But how you would do it is start off on your home screen. If you click into your compliance area again, so you see compliance here on your home screen, click in there, and it's very same as I did before. You just start by clicking on your orange plus button. Now you don't have to click on cattle treatment or remedy purchase this time. Just click next and you'll see that there's actually a vet call out option here. So you can just select that. Some advice here, Hazel. So do you want to maybe just give me a medicine or a remedy that you're maybe using quite even regularly at the moment when you're calling out to farms or something?
Okay, so something similar like Dipen, pen strep. That's a very, very common.
Yeah, we'll go with pen strip. So same as before. Like I said, if you have the bottle with you and you're using it on your phone, please just use the scan option and it'll help. It'll cut down on the amount of information you have to put in. But it is very quick to just type it in. It'll filter the list for you as well. So I'm going with Pro Pen Strip here. So pen strip can obviously be used on different species. So I'm just selecting cattle here that I'm using it on. So for this particular instance, the first thing I'm selecting here is administered by. So my vet is here, and if Hazel is calling out, you can obviously add Hazel as the vet on the spot in Herdwatch. So Hazell.
Yeah, 2 L's.
Got it right in one. So Hazel is the person that's administering the medicine. So give me a dose per animal.
Mils. Yeah.
So we'll just say 20 mils per day. The unit of measure is obviously milliliters, as Hazel said. Now, this is something for Irish farmers, which can be really, really handy. A little tip that we have is the show withdrawal info button. So you can see on some of the medicines, it'll actually give you the withdrawal information from the HPRA. Now, we always recommend, obviously, check the bottle, check the labels to double check. But if you don't have it with you, this will give you the withdrawal periods as well. So you can see that the meat withdrawal on the pen strip is 21 days and 3 days for milk. So I can just select my milk withdrawal as 3 days, meat withdrawal 21, and my prescribing vet, of course, is Hazel. Do you want to give me a treatment reason here, Hazel?
Metritis, maybe?
Sorry?
Metritis, maybe, or a lame leg or something like that.
I'll go with lameness. It's easier for me to spell, Hazel.
Yeah, foot rot there. Perfect.
Yeah, so you can go, you can see all the lameness options are here. So solar ulcer, slurry, or did I see foot rot?
Yeah, it's there. Under drop.
Yeah, I see it.
Go down.
I picked the wrong one. Look, it's the same thing. You can pick, select your treatment reason, and next is your last option here, and you're just picking the individual animal that the vet has been out to see. So if you know the animal, same as I did before, rather than have to scroll down, you can just pop in their number at the top, and the app will find the animal for you. Click on them to select them, and save. And then you just can review your purchase and just go, okay. And was it 20 ml or did Hazel leave the rest of the bottle with you? So if Hazel left the rest of the bottle with you, you can change the purchase from 20 to 100 ml if it was a 100 ml bottle, or if it was just one shot that the vet had given, you can just select save. And that's your vet treatment recorded. And that will obviously go into your reports for your quality assurance, for your medicine audits and inspections as well. So thanks for the help there, Hazel. So
yeah, no, it's great.
we're nearly at the the end of the show, and one or two more questions, Hazel, if that's okay.
Okay, we'll go for it. It's exciting. I don't know what I'm going to.
You don't know what's coming.
It's like a Viva in college. It's like, oh, what's next?
So John is asking, Hazel, what is the name of the injection that you give to cows 12 weeks before calving for scour?
So that's Rotovac. Well, there's two on the market at the moment. So Rotovac Corona or Bovagen Scour. So they're the two licensed in Ireland at the moment. They both cover all of the three scours: Rota, Corona, and E. coli. Okay. So unfortunately, there's nothing for crypto. If someone could invent a vaccine for Cryptosporidium, I'd be very happy.
Thanks for that one, Hazel. And the next one is from Eamon. Eamon is just asking, what's the best time to vaccinate for lepto?
So leptos is what's traditionally Valentine's Day and Patrick's Day. So the 14th of February and Patrick's Day, they're the two. So they would be your first shot and your booster shot. So they were always the general ones, and that's still perfect. But they're trying to maybe say that, you know, springtime is a busy time for farmers, so you can actually bring it forward a bit and maybe do it during a dry period when you're a bit less busy as well. So before breeding, so kind of dry period on, and traditionally it was Valentine's Day and Patrick's Day. So ideally before breeding it would be ideal. Yeah. Okay. And last for the year. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Hazel. I think we have three more questions, Hazel. So next one is from Patrick. Says, hi, Hazel. What do you think of clipping cattle's backs at housing?
Yes, and I think I had that somewhere on the slide. Maybe that I do think it's a good idea. Well, they kind of, there's two trains of thought, and it's for sweating and for not overheating. And I see a lot of, especially kind of, commercial beef people do it, and they get good results. And for probably poor on absorption as well, it can. I think there's some people that say it doesn't matter, and then some people I don't really mind, but they it can help with absorption. If the cattle are very, very hairy, I definitely think it could help with absorption. Yeah.
Two left now. We're nearly there. So okay. Both Michael and Tony have asked this one, Hazel. The lads have asked, what steps can one take to prevent displaced stomachs in dairy cows?
Oh, okay. Not have your dry cows overweight or conditioned. Give them a good, have a nice dry period for them. So a good transition diet. So, and not, milk fever control as well. So not supplying too much calcium, not supplying too much potassium, having enough magnesium in the diet, all those kind of, promoting good calcium mobilization post calving. Basically anything that keeps the cow eating in the couple of days to the weeks post calving is essential. So keeping their dry matter intake up, so having something very nice and have your dry cow diet that's palatable, that they're eating, because they naturally don't eat very much coming up to calving. So you have that dip, but they still need the energy and they still need to keep that rumen full. Again, avoid things that cause acidosis as well, like causes a lot of gas production post calving. So don't go from having no ration at all to having 4 kilograms twice a day. In the parlour, that can just kind of shock their system and produce a lot of gas, which moves the stomach post calving, because the calf is gone now, so the room is there. So basically everything to keep the cow eating, milk fever control, and acidosis control as well. So all those 3 things. You could write a book on how to prevent left displace and right displace organisms.
Hopefully, Tony and Michael, that gives you some.
Sorry, Tony and Michael.
Good news, Hazel. We're on to the last question from
Great.
Pat. Pat is just asking, Hazel, what's the best time of the year to vaccinate for BVD? Pre-breeding, so a couple of weeks before you start breeding would be ideal. Again, similar times to lepto.
So that's now there's two different available. You can do one that's 2 shot or one that's 1. But yeah, pre-breeding would be my answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Keep it short.
Short and sweet. Lovely. That's a nice one to finish it off. Thanks, Hazell. So we're just about done, everyone. So I do just have 1 or 2 little slides just to finish us off. So yeah, so look, hopefully everybody's enjoyed the webinar so far. We're just about finished. Just for anyone that's maybe tuned into their first webinar, or if you're with Herdwatch for a long time, you know, the next generation app that we were demoing on there is obviously available now to download. So if you're a Herdwatch user and you're not on Herdwatch Next Gen, just make sure and pop into your app store or your Play Store on your Android phone or your iPhone, and just search for Herdwatch Next Gen app will come up, and make sure you get that installed. It's just so quick and easy to use. If you're not a pro user of Herdwatch, you know, you get access to all the pro benefits, all the pro features. You can give the Herdwatch trial for 30 days a go for free. And obviously, look, Herdwatch Next Generation is available to our existing members completely for free as well as an upgrade. So if you don't have it, just make sure you go and get it updated straight away. Any questions, let us know and we're here to help. And that's pretty much it for today's webinar. So thank you everybody for watching. Hazell, thank you so much for all your help there.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Eoin. I really enjoyed it. I was quite nervous coming on, but I thank you. I felt like, you know, I got my points across, and hopefully
definitely, yeah.
If everyone took 1 point away from tonight, I'd be very, very happy. So yeah, it was great to be involved, and thank you so much to yourself and Herdwatch for asking me. It's brilliant.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for, like I said, we really appreciate it, Hazell. Thank you.
Welcome.
Just before I go, look, obviously you can see Hazell's Instagram handle is there. Do you want, what was you have your other ones as well, Hazell? If you want to just give them a quick shout out before we head off. Do you have your podcast, is it, as well? And
Vet Space Ireland, yes. If everyone could give us a follow, and we're doing a special kind of exercise motivation thing for October. Vets get physical, so it's not just limited to vets. We're raising money for Aware and mental health charity, great mental health charity in Ireland, and it kind of coincides with the Ag Mental Health Week as well this week. So just to say that we're doing there's a great campaign on Instagram at the moment, and yeah, just everyone, if you're struggling, just pick up the phone, have a chat to your friend, and, you know, don't suffer in silence and that kind of thing. So it's one of my big kind of topics that I like to kind of endorse on my Instagram as well, just to, you know, there's always help out there. Yeah, so that's it.
Super. Yeah, and just make sure to give Hazell a follow on Instagram. You check out what she's
Please,
up to every day. And obviously give Herdwatch a follow on Instagram as well, or on Facebook. Look, if you're getting on really well with Next Gen, please give us a good review on the App Store or the Play Store. And for existing users, if you need any help, any assistance, please don't hesitate to get in contact. The phone numbers are there for both Ireland and the UK. Give us a call, or just use the message center on the app. We're here Monday to Friday at 9 to 5. Give us a call and we will help you out. Or if you're interested in getting going, if you're not on the pro version, we'll get you going on it straight away. So that's it. Listen, thank you very much, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you all really soon again. Hazell, thanks a million again.
You're welcome.